Good morning. In the exact same spot we were in last night for 4 hours doing Thirsty Thursday live stream. Haven't moved at all. Slept right here. Had somebody bring me a cup of coffee. It's been tremendous. Believe it. Today we're talking about inflation and Ruska. The Russians, them Soviet commie bastards or whatever. And the European Union, rather. I wonder how much of this is, especially if like you're like me, you grew up in a certain period of time where like, G.I. Joe and woodland camo, this camo pattern, and you're like, the Russians are commie bastards. What do you want to do when you grow up? I want to kill commie bastards. When you just had that like that ethos was instilled into you, right? I wonder how much of that is at play right now with this, what's going on in the world. Good morning, Glock 316. Long time no see. Bear Independent Brief, 28 January 22. It's Friday, day of prep. The markets have gone on their deepest nosedive since 2020. Yay! The sell-off is massive. The NASDAQ dove 14.3% from its recent all-time high, and many analysts expect it to get worse. Yay! I saw some complete throwaway article. I believe it was at Fox News, which, by the way, is just degrading in quality of reporting and integrity day by day. Just is horrendous, as is the Blaze, frankly, just horrendous. But there was some throwaway article there talking about how Biden plans to speak, I believe today, on the great economic strides that have been made under his presidency. I'm like, what are you going to talk about? Nothing? Copied that. Ever since the Federal Reserve, aka our central bank, slashed interest rates, inflation has been gobbling up American purchasing power. It's now at its 40-year high of 7%, which does not include increases to prices for food or energy. Actual realized inflation is believed to be by other experts, I'm not an expert, by experts in the field, a near 20%. So as we've talked about previously, if you got some money in the bank, just burning a hole in your pocket and there's some things you need to get, now's probably a good time to get them. The stage is laid for the Fed to raise interest rates to beat back inflation. Mark Grywaczeski told ABC News, quote, the Fed was expecting to have just a single quarter point rate hike this year. Most likely, we would have seen this quarter point hike during December. But because inflation has risen so high so fast, there's nothing to be afraid of there. So high so fast, the Fed is expected to raise interest rates 3 to 4 times this year, 2022, and another 5 to 6 times throughout 2023 and 2024. So we really need to brace for the fact that interest rates are going to be a lot higher very quickly. Yay. Forward Observer has been doing some good reporting on this intermittently as noteworthy updates come available. So check them out, Forward Observer, here on YouTube. But the Federal Reserve recently made a few things clear. First, it has decided that it will taper off its stimulus by the end of March. Second, in an FMOC statement, the Federal Reserve declared, quote, in support of these goals, the committee has decided to keep the target range for the federal funds rate at 0 to 1/4%, end quote. Multiple rate hikes can still happen, and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's comments to that effect sent the market back in a downward spiral after he indicated that large hikes are not out of the question due to the current massive inflation. Let's take a moment to breathe right here and simply discuss the fragility of the system yet again. A man or a woman says a few words, and all of your air quote wealth or large portions of your air quote wealth is destroyed damn near instantaneously. Oh yeah, but I'm going to keep whoring with that system. That sounds great. I want some more of that. How much of my actual time can I sell to that system to be rewarded with some fake ass money? That sounds good. I'm just going to stay right where I am. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's definitely going to work out. It's going to be great. And you get folks like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, dude, Robert Kiyosaki, who has essentially equated debt to income, right? Like, he literally had a tweet the other day that said, I have $1 billion in debt, therefore I have $1 billion in income, because his whole thing is leveraging debt to purchase assets rather than liabilities. That's his whole shtick. And hey, you know what, Robert? You have a lot more money than I do, probably by choice at this point, comma. The system that you grew up in is not the system we have now. It's changing. It's going away. I'm much more of a Dave Ramsey guy on this. The rich rule over the poor, and a debtor is a slave to his debt. That's Proverbs 22, verse 6, I believe. So if you're in debt, get out of debt. Your money's going to be worth even less than it is now. And see, that's the thing with debt. You spent, let's say you took on $10,000 of debt 3 years ago, and now to pay it back, you got to pay back $12,000, and that would be, it's probably light on the interest. But let's just say $12,000. Okay, well, you borrowed dollars 3 years ago that were significantly stronger than the dollars you have to pay it back with now, right? Yeah, it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm no fan of it. On top of the ongoing supply chain issues, the labor shortage is increasing wages, which is increasing cost for consumers, bolstering inflation. The Fed expects these contributing issues to be improved rather than exacerbated over the next year. So all in all, inflation is expected to pull back from its galloping pace. I disagree. Just as in 2009, mere comments about raising rates from the Federal Reserve are enough to send markets into a sell-off snowball. Some analysts predict I need a new laptop. They also predict the market will continue to slump or be very volatile, at least until the first expected increase in March. And perhaps I need a new laptop. That's fine. And perhaps that's the end of that portion of the brief. From cointelegraph.com, the White House is reportedly preparing an executive order on crypto. I predict I need a new laptop made my morning. Thanks, Chance. White House reportedly preparing an executive order on crypto. Again, from cointelegraph.com. Joe Biden's White House is expected to issue an executive order in the coming weeks about actions the United States government will take regarding digital assets. A source, quote, familiar with the White House's plan, end quote, told Barron's that the executive order would be issued in a national security memorandum. National security memorandum. Biden's memorandum would assign some government entities to study crypto, stablecoins, and non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, with the goal of developing a workable regulatory framework. Bear, should I buy crypto? Get this question all the time. I don't know. I like this, though. See this? Because this works whether or not the electrons are flowing. Okay? For our Canadian trucker friends right now, how about some of this right there? Will you focus? There you go. Okay? I like this. Tangible. By the way, shout out to all our Canadian friends who have just freaking had it with tyranny. Love it. Rumors of a potential executive order on crypto have been swirling in recent days. Earlier this week, Forbes reported those government entities would likely issue reports on their findings by mid-2022 after having looked at, quote, the systemic risks of cryptocurrencies and their illicit uses. And that's going to be the foot that they use to stick in the gap of the door to enter into regulation on crypto is its use in illicit trade, right? Oh, well, cartels use it, and organized crime syndicates use it, which is also a cartel, right? So we must regulate these things because bad people do bad things with this bad money. It's like, yeah, I'm also pretty sure I've seen the CIA kick pallets of $100 bills out the door to warlords, right? So bad people do bad things with bad money, right? It's the same thing. Okay, just tracking. Oh, Feifei. The rationale for the executive orders falling under national security is that crypto is a cross-border tool for shifting money. The ability of decentralized blockchain technology to circumvent geospecific surveillance or rules means the administration may push for synchronized international regulations with other countries. Another piece of legislation worrying the crypto industry was proposed by House Democrats on Tuesday, the America Competes Act. One provision in the proposed bill would allow the Treasury Secretary to ban crypto exchanges from operating without any prior notice. And this article goes on from here. I would say click the link and read it yourself, but I didn't put the link in the brief. So use your fingers. Co-intelligraph, like counterintelligence, except co-intelligraph, like co-intel and telegraph smashed together. Pretty good article. Let's see. From The Blaze, this is an interesting bit of information. Is it true? I think it's probably true. It feels true to me, but I have no way to determine the veracity of the following statements. Although you can see almost like when worlds collide with propaganda here again, which we've been discussing more and more lately. From theblaze.com by Carlos Garcia, 27 January, yesterday. After White House denial, CNN scrubs report on alarming leak from Biden's call with Ukrainian president. Chaos erupted online after CNN ran with the leaked report about alleged statements President Joe Biden made to the president of Ukraine in a phone call. By the way, I think we're all just presidents now, right? We just get to decide, right? So, President Bear reporting here on President Joe Biden, who was on the phone with the Ukrainian president. Biden spoke with President Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday about the threat from Russia, but a leaked report claimed that he told Zelensky an invasion was virtually certain and that the country should, quote, prepare for impact. Biden also told them that the capital of Kiev could be sacked by the Russians, according to the disputed report. And it goes on from here. This was reported on CNN, and then Jake Tapper said some stuff, and then the Ukrainians said, wait a minute, that's not what Biden said, and then the Biden White House said, oh shit, that's not what he said either, JK, LOL, and then some Twitter stuff happened, and now basically both the American and Ukrainian governments are saying, trust us, believe when we say that this is what was said, don't believe the news media. You can't believe anybody at this point, although I would agree. If you say former Vice President Joe Biden, it's not misinformation. Agreed, Tabar. Shalom and good morning. I like how on my screen up here, oh, it said 0 people were on. Now it says 602. That's good. 602 is better than 0. Now it says 0 again. Then none of y'all are here. None of y'all are here. So Biden basically told the Ukrainian President Zelensky that an attack is imminent and prepare to have your capital destroyed. That's cool. Which, frankly, I believe is true. Is it any coinky-dink that Hunter Biden was over there getting paid, what was it, $100,000 a month to run, air quote, run these Ukrainian energy companies? And now we have Joe Biden as president, and we have a war in Ukraine. I'm sure it's all just coincidence, right? It's all just a big old coincidence. I'm sure that's exactly what's going on here. To that end, from RT, the EU and UK are planning massive sanctions against Russian gas. The measures would come into effect if Russia invades Ukraine. And so what they're saying is, we know biogaso if you go into Ukraino, which is excellent English and Spanish, by the way, for the concept that if Russia invades Ukraine, the European Union is no longer going to buy its gas from Russia. Now, this is like a real double-edged sword here because Russia needs those gas sales to run Russia. Like, that's why they're building the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is now complete. It's just not operable yet. It informs almost everything Russia does, right? They need the revenue to run their country. Business as usual. Europe needs the gas so that they don't become a whole bunch of European frozen popsicle people, right? Like, it's cold up there. They want to not die. They would rather stay warm than dead. And so they need the gas. And so this is a real catch-22 here. This is precisely what the German Chancellor Olaf, whatever his name is, was saying. Hey, whatever we do to Russia, please no turn off el gaso. Need mucho gaso, por favor. That's a direct quote from Olaf. Mucho gaso, por favor. He's like, don't turn the gas off, bro. We got to have that. However we sanction the Russians, don't turn the gas off. Interestingly, do you know where that Nord Stream 2 pipeline